close it. From tomorrow we can freshly start microservices, right? So maybe tomorrow I will let you know what is the microservices architecture and why we are coming to microservices architecture, why it is suitable. So those things we will discuss tomorrow, but today we will quickly close. We will complete this the security concept. At least the development part today is almost last day, right? So the development part is today is almost today. From tomorrow we will start discussing about microservices architecture and challenges and the solutions provided by Spring. Okay. Yes. Oh, here I am missing Spring Cloud. Okay, I added microservices. Okay. I need to add Spring Cloud. Um, I don't take more than half an hour today. We will quickly complete it. Right? We almost completed everything yesterday itself, right? So let's quickly review for one more time. What did we do yesterday? So just this is actually the business logic method which we would like to invoke, but I mean, we don't want to invoke directly. We wanted to implement JWT security. So the problem is this is reactive, right? Spring Web Flex. So there are few changes with respect to Spring Web Flex security and WebMVC security. How we know how to do WebMVC? It's filter. We write some filter and we use existing API to validate the token. But when it is coming to WebFlex, we don't have such a kind of feature. We need to write our own authentication manager. We need to write our own security repository, security context repository, and we need to write our own configuration code. Yes, but things are easy, but something new. That's why they looks like complicated. But comparatively, things are easy, right? We need to understand what exactly is happening. So this is what is our actual business logic, and we also wrote a method to create the token. So it is almost more or less same, right? It is almost more or less same. But if it is Spring Boot MVC, we used to use it by using authentication manager, but we don't have any authentication manager concept in reactive programming, right? We need to write our own authentication manager. I'm strictly speaking the version which we are using, Spring Boot until 2.3 and Spring Security 5. Maybe in the upcoming versions it might be automated, but now at least at this point of time we don't have, right? At this point of time we don't have. Yes. So now what we have to do, we will get a username and password. Then we need to programmatically load those details from the database, and we need to compare the password. If the username is not found, we'll get exception then and there. So we don't need to check the username condition. Just we need to check. Whether the username password is matching or not matching. If password is matching, then we need to create the token. If the password is not matching, then we need to throw some exception. Right? We need to throw some exception. Yes, this is what we did as part of creating token. So part one, right? Create token is a part one. So next part is validating the token. So we don't have any feature called filter concept here, right? So servlet filter. So what should we do? We should use Spring Reactive existing API to take care about this JWT token authentication. So we should start with writing an authentication manager, which is type of reactive authentication manager. Reactive authentication manager. So here we will get the token, extract the username from token. So extracting token, username from token, creating token, it's almost same for MVC and React, right? So there is no difference, right? Creating token, creating reactive token, creating reactive token, and creating or else extracting username from the token. It is almost same, right? It is almost same. Yes. So next, what we need to do, once you get the username, go to the database and load that corresponding user from the DB, and just check whether the token is valid or not. Right? Token is valid or not. How we are checking? We are checking two conditions. One is username in the token and the database username, both are matching or not matching. And second part, we are checking whether the token is not expired or not. If token is not expired and username is matching, then token is not expired and username is matching. Then we are thinking that token is valid, right? Yes, that's what we are doing here. So once the token is valid, it's fine. If it is not valid, we are going to return authentication false, right? Mono.empty. So authentication object won't be there. So authentication will be failed. So if the token is valid, we are extracting claims from the token, and we are taking the roles, and for each role we are creating one granted authority, right? Authorities, and finally we are creating username password token. So authorization, I mean, authentication manager takes care of only the part of authentication. If the valid, I mean, token is valid or not, and username is matching with the database username, only that particular part, right? So authentication manager scope is only taking care about authentication, right? Whether the token is valid or not. That's it. It won't talks anything about. It won't talks anything about. So apart from that, we also need to hold that authentication information at request level. So that part is going to be taken care by security context repository, right? So that part is going to taken care by security context repository. Okay, security context repository. So so what we need to do, we need to implement server security context repository interface, and we need to override load method. So we no need to worry about, we no need to worry about save. So we just need to load the token security information and leave it, right? So get the request from server web exchange. So this API is completely different because this is reactive programming, right? So here we will get input as server web exchange, which is going to have request, HTTP request, take the request, take the header. If the header is having bearer token, right, extract the token and store, create one authentication and store it, validate it by using authentication manager. So first we created authentication manager to validate the token, right? So we will call that method here, and we will check whether the token is valid or not. So these two are combination, right? Security context repository and authentication manager. These two does different tasks. Okay, let's not get confused here. So security context repository takes care about getting the request, taking the token, checking whether the token is bearer or not, checking whether the token is bearer or not. If the token is type bearer, then extracting the JSON token from the bearer token and creating one authentication object and calling authentication manager authenticate method. So who is going to validate the token? Authentication manager. Who is going to validate the token? Authentication manager. If authentication is success, then let's hold it in security context. Security context. So for every thread, there is a, for every request coming from the client, there is one security context will be created for every thread, or else for every request coming from the client. So there is one security context will be created. So entire the request processing. So this security context is going to hold that authentication information. So if the token is not bearer type or something else, we will just return empty mode, right? So we won't get that security context with authentication. So the flow will be breaking the end, right? So let's go to the next level, WebFlex security config. So here we will configure everything, right? Entire application configuration, security configuration is going to be there inside this configuration file. So we gave just name WebFlex security config. Maybe in the application real time, you see, for example, mobile client security config, application name followed by security config. So it's user defined, right? So Java file name is user defined. So you can give any name here with WebFlex security. So here we need to do that complete setup, right? How exactly we wanna implement the security. First, we need to disable CSRF, we need to disable HTTP basic, we need to disable form login. Okay. Then you need to add our own authentication manager, and we need to add our own security context. So here we are instructing Spring WebFlex to do the authentication by using these two classes. So what exactly we are instructing here? So we are saying don't do HTTP basic authentication, don't do form login authentication, don't do CSRF authentication. Just to do authentication with respect to just to do authentication by using my own classes. I already wrote some code. Use these two classes to take care about my application validation. Okay. So we can here we have more control when we compare with Spring Boot MVC. with Spring WebFlex and MVC, Spring WebFlex security. So WebFlex security has more control because we are writing code, right? So we can do some customizations. But if it is boot MVC, so it is like mostly we go and use existing API, right? Mostly we go and use existing API. So you may not have that much control in Spring Boot MVC, but Webflex you have more control, right? Yes. Then just in simple naming convention, there it is authorized request. Here it is authorized exchange, and we need to allow customers to create token without authentication. Yes, we are doing that. So there it is ant matches. Here it is path matches, and any other any other request which is other than create token must be authenticated. Must be authenticated. So those any request other than create token should come through these two classes, right? So these two classes should certify that that request is valid, and they are sending bearer token. They are sending the token valid token, right? So they should. Every request which is coming from client other than create token should pass these two layers. Okay, should pass these two layers. So then only we will give the response. Then only we will allow the client, right, to client access that corresponding endpoint. So here as our business logic method is hello world, yeah, just for demo purpose. But when we move this code into mobile client, so we will actually implement mobile client logic there, right? So and build. So this is how we do the configuration. Yes. So this we already completed yesterday itself. Today just I'm going through for one more time, like to make you feel better with this code, right? So let's go to our application. So here we have mobile client code, right? Yes. So what should we do? We should copy those files here, and we need to complete the JWT security. JWT security. So first of all, let's go to the pom.file and see whether it is the pure reactive code or not. So if we are using web, let's remove that particular part. Okay. So we are running on. We have WebFlex, DevTools, Lombac, test. We have Project Reactor, Mobile Common, Reactor netting, right? So we are excluding the reactor netting. Let's not do that. Let's run on netty server itself, right? Let's run on netty server itself. So first of all, let's see whether this application is working fine or not. First, let's do the testing. Let's start everything. I think we need to start country service also. So let's open country service. Okay, so let's start country client service. Okay, accessories. I think we closed it. Let's open accessories also. So let's start all four. Country client service. Okay, so some service not started. I think client will check why it's not started. So accessory started, mobile service also started, but client alone failed, right? So let's go to client console and see application context unable to start. Okay, so unable to start servlet web server application context. I know why this cannot get JDBC connection. Why we need JDBC connection? Let me check the configuration. Let's go to client code. Where did we add the JDBC code here? Webflex, DevTools, Project Lombax, Test, Project Reactor, Import, Security, JWT, okay, Security, JWT, that's fine. Uh, Code Reflection Factory.
the problem? Life cycle auto confirmation, unconditional task. Unable to start web server. The servlet is missing. I know servlet is missing. Why we need database? Restart launcher. Okay, let me see. So what is the problem? Still why it is expecting servlet? In the common, okay, I think I create the demo here. So let's close that. So in the mobile common, uh,
See, we have
yeah,
this class.
in mobile
API.
common we added uh,
Servlet API is there, right?
this will be there. This is mobile common, right? So from where we are getting this open open API code from your common configuration. This open API is giving trouble. Okay, so
Bean. Here it is. Open
open
API.
API. So where it is going? Which Java? Swagger models. Okay, Java dependencies. Mobile common complex. Okay, I think we added in the parent. Okay, it's there in the parent. Really, open API. It's there in the parent. So here is right. Open API WebMVC core. Yes, this is what is causing the issue.
But why, how it is causing issues, Sunil?
It is specific to WebMVC, right? So it expects servlet.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay. The dependency is expecting servlet.
yes, that dependency is expecting servlet. So let's delete that. Let's wait for a moment to get all the services because we have changed the parent for that. So it's all server to be get out. Okay. So now let's start client. Unable to start servlet web server application context. Servlet web context factory. Servlet web context factory. Open API. Dev tools. Startup test. Marketing invite. Okay. So let me open another workspace. We need to add the Plex dependency. One. Let's go to another workspace. We need to push this code into repository. We will do that today. Okay, so let's compare the common code. Why we are getting that? Mm, let's go to common. Common form that it's modified. So we need, this is what I added. Let's go to parent, what I added in the parent. Let's go add the same dependencies of parent to working. So first let's start all the services. Let's put it parent. So from here, dependencies, so let's override this one. We are using what version of Spring Boot 2.25. So JUnit, JUnit, DevTools, starter AOP, test, and now let's go to common. Let's copy these things. Let's copy only one. That will take a while to change to reflect the changes. Now let's start only client and see. Spring Boot environment. Is one thing of Spring application of JUnit. Class not found server. Security config. Mobile client target. Security config class. Okay. Type not present option. Class not found. Not why this is coming out of certain YouTube. Let me check. Code not found one more time. Are we importing this common logic to client? So we need to remove that. Yes. Application config. Just a plain configuration. Yes. Simple application. Application config. The client. Oh, security config. Yes. This is what is possible. So let's delete this part. Let's remove the security also because we need to implement different security mechanism, right? So whatever we have with the default cannot be taken. Okay, let the dependency be there. No problem. Now let's start it. Oh, environment, application register. Go to client, form.html. We are directly extending from Spring Boot. Right. So let's extend from there. Don't use Spring Boot 3 version, guys. It has so many changes. Okay, so there are so many changes that happened in Spring Boot 3. Okay, so there are few dependencies are they removed, and so be very careful with using Spring Boot 3 version, right? So that is one important thing we need to keep in mind. So there are a couple of issues are expected when we are upgrading our Spring Boot version. Okay, so the people who are on my WhatsApp group, I shared that video. Just go through that video.
Yeah, okay.
What are all the new features are added in Spring Boot 3? Too much advanced features.
Yes. So we need to manage authentication manager and now. Yes. So once we start touching Spring Boot security, so once we start playing with Spring Boot security, we need to add everything. Okay. That authentication manager, where we are using authentication, I think in the controller we use. Sorry. Okay, so we try to implement that boot security, right? So that is what is causing the issue. So it's, if it is a plain Spring, yeah, reactive programming, it will work, right? It is a plain string reactive programming, it will work. So now what should we do? We should start adding the security features, right? So we should start adding the security features. So be very careful, guys, whenever you are working with Spring Reflex and security. Okay, so that is one major, I mean, one important thing which we need to. Okay, so now what we are planning to do now, go to, yeah, so let's copy paste these files, right? Whatever we tried yesterday. So let's start with JWT controller. So let's add this method. Okay, let's add this method. Let's not create a new controller. Let's add this method in our mobile controller itself. It's up to you whether you want to add it here, you can add it, or if you want to have a separate controller with respect to JWT, yes, you can. Okay. So we need JWT token service to create the token. We need user detail service to take care about right to take care about validating that user. So now let's create token request we already have. So it has username and password. Okay, let's import that. Change the package. Yes. So let's have JWT service, right? Not JWT token. So just rename the file, right? So JWT service. And we need user details. Okay, we will do create token. Okay, there is already one import user, so that's why it is awesome. Let's remove all this and just do control space to get the token. Okay, so only one part which is missing here is okay, what it is doing. We have only one method. Okay, let's copy that entire class, token service class. Then keep our yesterday's class. Let's change the package. Change. So now let's come back to JWT and change this to JWT token service. So, okay. So this is how the piece will be working. So this is, it goes to Spring predefined user detail service. No, this is not predefined user detail service. We should copy our own user detail service. Right? We should use our own user detail service. So this takes care about loading the user details from MongoDB. This takes care about loading the user details from MongoDB. Now let's come back and import our own user details, right? Our reactive user details. MSK mobile client service. Yes. Yeah. So we are done with first part, right? Creating token. So authenticating the user, and if the user authentication successful, creating the token. Yes, first part is done. So now let's go to the second part, right? Now let's go to the second part, validating the token, right? Validating the token. So what I will do, we'll create separate folder for security config. So let's go to default folder, right? Client dot security. So here we will keep all the security related configuration files. Okay, and so let's create here. We will remove the PL anyway. We will keep our own files, right? Authentication manager, security context repository, web reflect security context. we need to change the package name. So just change the package name. Just change the package name. Save it. Just to Control Shift O. All the classes imports will be corrected. Right? Let's do repeat the same for remaining files. Just change the package name. Yes. Yeah. This is. Oh, sorry. So let's put it here. Okay. Now let's go to the second third one. So change the package name here also. Change the package to this. Right. So now there are no errors. So these three files take care about validating the JWT token. Right. So these three files: authentication manager, security context repository, WebFlex security context. Right. So these three files will help us, right, will help us doing token validation, right? So these three files are important: authentication manager, security context repository, webflex webflex security config, right? Webflex security config. So these three files, right, these three files very important with respect to token validation, and creating the token is going to be taken care by JWT controller. So now onwards, if we would like to access any API in mobile client controller, we should create the token first, and we should pass the token. We should pass the token to get the we should pass the token to access the actual business logic. So now what we can do, let's start all the services and see whether we can access the remaining service. Anyway, we already completed adding security for uh, these two, right? Mobile country service and mobile service. So it's a basic authentication country service. Okay, where is the mobile service? Here it is, right? Mobile service. Oh, for mobile service client, we didn't add JDBC authentication. Oh, let's go to that part. Mobile service. We added data JPA, right? Data JPA. Let's go there. Here, application security config.
No, disabled only.
We disabled for JNet purpose.
Okay.
We disabled this for JNet purpose. Yes, let's enable. That part also missing, right? I just need to check. Okay, that I will. We will check later. So let's put the things back. So we commented this class also. Right? So let's do control A, compose, uncomment. So the day JNet we commented this. Right? I think we need to add security also. Yes. In app security config, okay, we need to extend web security config adapter. So this is data JPA, right? Data JPA security. I think import statement is this. Yes. Okay. So this is data JPA security, and it goes to the database and get, right? It goes to the database and get the user details from the database. Where is the repository? App repository, find by username. So user details service, right? App user details service. It loads the user details from database. It loads the user details from database, and it will check that username and password is matching or not, and it will also check whether the roles are matching or not, right? Yes. So this is what we were doing in our mobile service, right? We are doing in our mobile service security. So the remaining all files are our business logic files, right? Exception handling and everything. So let's not touch those files. Let's go to um, let's go to client. We need to pass the username and password, right? So we need to pass the username and password. I think here in mobile service, this is a different table, right? So JPA users like that, we created a table. Let's see the model first, right? So mobile service, Java, app user. So this is connecting to JPA users table. So here the username and password is different. So let's open MySQL DB. I think country user, I think, no, not country. We created some user for mobile service. We'll see what is that user. Okay, so we need to pass that username and password to access this mobile service, right? So let's connect it to the database. So this is the table which we are using to store the information, right? So JPA underscore users. Let's see what are all the users are exist on that. Okay, mobile user. Mobile user, not sure. I think password also mobile user, I believe. So the role is mobile service, right? So mobile service. So let's go to app security config. Yes, we are checking mobile service admin as a role. Yes, so we should use mobile service user. Okay, let's go to our client. First of all, let's start mobile service and test whether that is working fine or not without security.
Sunil, I have one question here. Anyways, we are going to expose only the mobile client to outside world, right? So mobile service, mobile accessory, and other service, country service, and all going to be internally called by mobile client.
Yes.
So do we need to configure security for those services separately again?
I mean, again, it's your design, but it's good because anyone can access it, right? It's again a service, so anyone can access it. So if you would like to restrict, if you would like to secure those services, it's good to provide security, but it's up to you. It's again part of design. So for better security reasons, yes, because this is an service, right? Anyone can directly access. So to have some control, to restrict, to provide some security, yes, we can add security. At least the security whatever we are providing, right? The basic security we should do it. So
Okay.
let's go to browser. Just type localhost 8080 slash mobiles or mobile MSK, right? I think MSK slash mobiles. Let's go to controller mobiles. I think we gave context path. So let's give slash MSK slash mobiles slash one. So you get the pop-up, right? So I think user is mobile user, password is mobile user. Now only we can able to access, right? If you don't give that, then you will get unauthorized. Yes. So the concept is even applicable for our mobile client also. So while accessing mobile service from our mobile client, we should provide that username and password. So let's go to the code. So while creating mobile service, right? So let's use this country service as is. Just only the part which is going to change is the URL. Mobile service base URL. Yes. So username is uh, mobile user. Password also mobile user. Okay. So now let's start all the services and see whether all services are working with respect to security or not. Starting 4 services, I think almost consuming 2 GB memory on my stacking. If I start 4, okay, there is a client that broken. Let's go there. Okay, we need decrypt encoder, right? So decrypt encoder object we need. So it is missing. So let's define that in the configuration, right? So let's define that. Okay, this is client configuration. Let's not touch that. So let's create one decrypt configurer. So the public decrypt password encoder and say password encoder. You can return new password encoder. Okay, so new password encoder. So we'll do. We have to start the client for one more time. It started. I think some issue with respect to live reload server. That's right. We can disable that feature. That's fine. So now let's go to browser and try to access client, right? So it should internally make country service call, accessory service call, and client call, right? So service call. So mobile service, mobile accessory service, country service. So it's going to make three calls internally, three calls internally. So what should we do? Let's go to controller and see what is the URL. Mobile client, mobile icon. So just localhost 8085 slash mobile. Okay, I think first we need to create the token, right? So we need to create the token and we need to send the token. So I need Postman. From browser we cannot do those things. So let's open the Postman. So meanwhile, let me create one repository for you on my GitHub account. We will push this code. GitHub slash page. Yes. Six. Okay. I forgot username and password. I forgot the username and password. Let's see what is the username. It is my registered email ID. Password, what I gave. Level authentication. We just email that. Okay. So password is 982235. Pin. Let's enter that. Okay. So UI got changed. Let's go to the home folder. This looks little new to me. Let's create a new repository. Here we go. Let's name it as microservices hyphen b2 hyphen 850, right? So you are timing 850. So this is what is your repository. I hope you would able to identify this, right? 850 b2 815 is your batch, right? So batch 2.
Yeah.
To create repository, we will push the code here today once this code work. So 8085. So we need to call create token first, right? Let's create the token first. So to create the token, we need to send the username and password in the body. Let's just go to raw section, and in the body, we need to send the JSON. So he is going to be username in capital. So I think username is mobile user. No, right? Okay, we hard coded the user. Yes. For now, we hard coded the user. You need to move that. I mean, can you please get this loaded from the MongoDB? For now, I have hard coded. Okay, so you do the MongoDB integration. Just load it from the MongoDB.
Okay.
User and password is going to be, I think it's user 123. That's what I remember. Let's try it. User 123. Let's create the token. If this are matching, you should get the token created. Exception, JWT signature does not match. So we have to send the post. Come on. Create token 1. Okay. Other than create token, everything is getting into. Okay. What is the URL again? So username and password. Let's go to control. Okay.
To
The
control.
problem is header parameter. We are sending already authorization there, so it's not going to create token. Now, right. Let's go to the get call. Yes. Let's take a fresh request. Get. So it's going to be okay. It's going to be HTTP colon localhost 8085 slash mobile client slash one, right? Yes. Now let's go to headers. We need to send this token. Without sending token, we cannot access. Okay. So without sending token, nothing can be done, right? 401. So we need to send the token. So let's send authorization token. Yes. So it's going to be bearer token. Bearer space. Okay. Now let's send the request. We should be able to get the response. What's up? Mobile accessory, find any that's been reactive programming. Let's go to the logs and see what exception they. Mobile client console. Let's go to console. It's called fail 8082 mobile accessory. Find any. Let's see what is the problem. So while accessing mobile accessory, there is some problem. Why we are triggering find any here? MSK
Oh,
mobile accessory find. Okay, okay. I think we are getting 404 error. Let's try the same URL. We still get the same problem, right? Yes, 404. Let's go to mobile accessory code. Why at least controller, mobile accessory controller. Find slash mobile type we are passing. Okay.
no, we instead of type we are passing one. I think that's a problem.
All right. Find any.
No, from
Oh,
mobile
okay.
client, we are sending it as any.
No, even directly from browser also we are getting same error, right? Localhost
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay.
8082 MSK mobile accessory find any.
Fine.
Mobile accessory find any. Okay. Let's go to the controller. Find slash mobile type path variable. Fine. If you directly don't pass anything, you should get all mobile access. Huh? What port it is running? 8082 only, right? 8082 slash MSK slash mobile slash ACCE exception handle data handler. This console. It is started on 8082. Context path, no context path. Okay, no context path. So let's remove that MSK.
Mm.
Why no context path? Go to accessory. Go to
No, application property. It is the
yeah, yeah.
server.
We deleted that web dependency, right? So that's why now we are not getting servlet available to even this mobile access also.
Okay.
So
Mm.
okay, that's fine. Let's go to client and remove that MSK part. You know, our design is little bad actually. We are mixing two components for learning purpose. We are including MVC, reactive, everything we are doing, right? So so it is so we are losing some control actually.
But Sunil, in real time also that is possible, right? Like one application is an MVC client. You
Actually, your client should be different for MVC and different for reactive. So we should write two clients. That is makes sense actually.
okay?
Okay, so you should have a technical separate stack for MVC, separate stack for reactive. So this is actually a bad design.
But these all are no. But you are saying issue with client or issue with services? I think.
No, issue not with the service, issue not with client. We are mixing everything, right? So
Mm-hmm.
for MVC we need servlet, for reactive we don't need
We
servlet.
don't need. Yes.
Most complicated part is accessory.
So this is reactive with servlet we need. Reactive with servlet we need.
So that's why it is causing that problem. So so if we add open API web dependency, we will get web support. So that is what actually it is needed. That's fine. So for now, what we will do, let's remove this MSK slash access. Let's wait for a moment to client to get restarted.
Yeah.
Anyway, our token is available, I think, for next 30 minutes, right? Go to service, JWT token service. How much time we give? 30 minutes, no problem. And happily use the same token. So started, let's send the request. Yeah.
So, Sunil, one thing, sorry, I got a little bit confused. So you are saying if client is in your reactive without servlet, services should also be in same stack, like application stack.
Yes,
Like,
actually, I will tell you what we are doing here and what it's supposed to be like. Okay.
yeah,
So
sure.
right now, here we have our client, which is reactive. Okay. So here we have mobile service, which is pure MVC. Good. Till this point, we are good. And here also we have country service, which is pure MVC, right? Yes. So client is reactive, and this is mobile service. And here we are going to use country service. Yes. Till this point, we are good. It's fine. This combination is also fine. But the problem with the accessory.
Why the problem with accessory? Because in accessory we are using right, what we are using,
We are using common library, right? So this common is not good actually. So this common needs always servlet because we added a filter here. Okay. So yes, this has MVC servlet and this has servlet. It's good. So this will work. So client doesn't use common, no problem. But the problem is with accessory. So to get the common features enabled in accessory, we need servlet stack, right? So if you want this feature to be enabled, yes, we need a servlet stack. Okay, so we need to add servlet stack here. So here first we started like that. Okay, we started like that, and we integrated with servlet, and we are invoking. Till this point of time, everything is good. So actually, what is the mistake we did? This common folder is a mistake. This common thing is right. This common is a mistake because in common we added filter. So that filter is a servlet filter. Okay?
Correct.
So that filter is servlet filter. So now our accessory needs servlet stack separately added. So now if you go to accessory, if you go to accessory, what section is missing now? Why that context part is not working? Because if we restart accessory service, you see, you don't see that servlet context created. No servlet is available.
Yes, yes.
So we need to add servlet dependency explicitly for accessory to make that common features work.
Oh,
Okay, it is connecting to MongoDB. It is running Tomcat. It is running fine, but the problem is it doesn't have servlet context. So Tomcat will run both reactive mode and servlet API mode. Right? Tomcat has the, both the
yes,
features.
yes. We can do
So
that.
by default now Tomcat with reactive, no servlet. Tomcat with reactive, no servlet. So if there is no servlet, then context path will not be picked. Right? No servlet, no context path will be picked. You see, method execution is printing, but filter time is not printing. Right?
Hmm.
Total time taken for a filter, it's not printed because we don't have servlet. But if you go to mobile service 8080 mobile, let's open another local host 8080 slash mobile slash one. So you get you see that filter is printing. You get what I'm saying here? Mobile
Yeah.
service filter is working, but when we go to accessory, filter is not working. So we need to enable that Tomcat sorry, accessory console. Yes. So we need to enable filter is not working here, right? So we need to enable Tomcat. So that is what is a bad design, right? So that is what is a bad design. So we are coming step by step process and adding. So we missed this step. So if it's okay, if you don't want the filter feature, then it's fine. You don't want filter feature, you don't want to total time taken to execute accessory, then it's fine. If you want that filter to be enabled, then you should take care in a different. Okay, so now things will work fine, but the servlet stock won't be available. So now these two are MVC. Okay, these two are React. So mostly how it will be in the real time, they have a separate stack maintained. Okay, they don't do like this. They will create a separate stack where they will put all the MVC components. Okay, here like this they will put it, and they will create separate stack for React. Okay, one stack for MVC, one stack for React. Okay, so client you can take whatever you want. Okay, so client should be an independent component. Okay, so mostly client should be reactive. So so we need to write a separate common for reactive now. We need to write a separate common library for reactive, then things will be good. So now the problem is what we are doing here, we are writing a common which being used in the MVC, which being used in the reactive, then things may not work as expected. So the stack should be I mean, it's a classified stack. You should have a separate technical stack for MVC, separate technical stack for. Okay, so those can be mixed in the client because client is completely independent. Even in our case also client there is no problem. Only problem with accessory because we don't have separate technical stack for MVC and React. But still things will work fine. Only the thing which is going to be missed here, filter, right? So accessory will not have filter. So with this, we are done with all the development, guys. Okay, so let's not uh, prolong too much. So let's jump into microservices concept. Okay, so let's push the code quickly. Let me take this. Let me clone it freshly and push the code. There it is. So let's go to new drive. I have a separate folder for Git. Let's git bash here. Okay, so right now I am here. So just clone that folder. It is an empty folder, nothing is there, right? So that's fine. So now let's go to our workspace, E drive. microservices 815 workspace. I will take country service, I will take accessory service, modal, common, mobile service, parent. Okay, only these parts. Functional, uh, functional I will push it separate. Okay, so let's come back to Git. Only the actual real microservices I'm going to push. Okay, only the real microservices. So let's go ahead and remove target folder. We don't want. Now let's go ahead and remove all targets folders. Okay, so parent doesn't have target folder. So each folder we will have git ignore. I think we already added target, I believe. So we already added target. So anyway, it won't be added. So that's fine. So now let's go ahead and push the code. Right. So right now we are here. Let's see what are all the. Okay, let's go inside mobile services B250, right? Sorry, microservices. Microservices hyphen B2 850 here. ls hyphen LRT. So these are all the files we added. Let's add everything. Yes, git status. Now all the files, the typo mistake. Let's do git status. You see all the files will be showed in green color. So now let's push the code. Git push. Git push. Uh, push. Sorry, we need to commit, right? Commit hyphen m. What we can do? We can do like all 4 microservices on working mode with security. Yes. So you can download it. You can use this as a reference, and you can try doing from scratch, or you can add in the missing components. Right. So yes, let's do push. You cannot do the push because it's my own thing, right? If you want to do any changes to be happen, you have to create a pull request. Okay, so there we go. Here is your repository. Okay, so the entire code is available here. You just use it for your reference purpose, maybe in the future reference purpose and all. So there are a couple of things I want you to do. Clone this code, okay? So create a pull request by adding, right now in the client, we are not going to the database, right? Right now in the client, we are not going to the database. So can you do complete that coding? So we hard coded the user, right? Can you do it? Okay, and let's try to complete all the pending developments, right? For example, in the country service, I don't think so. We wrote all the methods, right? We wrote all the methods. We wrote only 3 methods. The remaining 3 are pending. You just clone it and complete that development part. And go to accessories, see whether we completed all the development part. If not, I think it's almost there everything. Yes. So yeah. Just check it out, right? If validations are missing or something is missing, just play with this. Okay, just play with this. Anyway, you can't push it. If anything you want to be merged, create a merge request. Okay, create a merge request. So I will create one develop branch. Let's not touch the master. Okay, any changes to be merged, we will first merge it and develop, and we will test it. If everything is working fine, we will merge it into master. So git push. So this branch is not there in the remote. So for the first time, we need to do set upstream. Right. So origin develop. So you take it from the develop, okay, and create pull request for develop. Okay, create pull request from develop.
So that's how we should work on the microservices. Yeah. Yes, I know we not completed 100%. Like everything cannot be done in the training. You have to make your hands dirty, do it in at your. But most of the things are coming, right? Integration, services, reactive, WebMVC, AOP, filters, and um, security also, JDBC security, data JPA security, AWT token security. So it's almost like we almost learned everything which related to microservices. Okay. Still there are so many things are there, right? You said you should continue this learning, and you should do this because for every 6 months new versions are going to be released in Java and Spring as well. Okay, so even Spring decided to go for a 6 months release. So you expect for every 6 months there is a new version is going to be released from Spring Boot and all the versions. So yeah, you have to be ready to face those challenges if you want to continue in Java. Okay, yes, but this training will help you to be there for next couple of years. But the changes are very fast, so you have to learn fastly. Yes, from tomorrow we will freshly start microservices. Okay, we will freshly start microservices. Right? What is microservice, and what are all the challenges are going to come? How we are going to address it by using Spring? So mostly I don't teach you Spring concepts because in the real time we don't use Spring. So all these features are already available in Kubernetes. So mostly we will be using Kubernetes features, but the concept is same. For example, um, load balancing, right? So Spring also has load balancer. So like Zool gateway we have, so that can be used for load balancer, but mostly we don't use it because Kubernetes load balancer is much stronger than Spring load balancer. So, but I'll still make you understand what is a good architecture for microservices. The people who has experience like in micros, I mean Java plus 5 plus or 8 plus years, for them this section, especially these microservices, from tomorrow whatever we're gonna discuss will help a lot because mostly things are related to architectural point of view. We wanna discuss how you design microservices and what are all the challenges will come, and what is a monolithic application, how it looks like, and when we convert into microservices, how it looks like. Okay, so those things we're gonna discuss about a lot in microservices concepts. Okay, challenges, solutions from Spring. But I will let you know what are all the concepts are going to be used. But very rarely, like Spring Cloud provided almost all the solutions, but most of the people don't use all the solutions. We're going to discuss the most commonly used solutions. Okay, we are also going to see the centralized logging. We are also going to see the centralized logging, how we can log these details using in microservices, and how we're gonna see the details in Kibana that I will also show. Okay, maybe in the upcoming sessions, if possible, if I create multiple microservices and if I'm able to get some data, I will also plan like a session on Grafana. Okay, Grafana and New Relic. So those are all anyway part of DevOps, not part of development. But still, I will see if possible. I will conduct a session. When I conduct a session, I will send you a notification, so you can join and you can learn those concepts. Okay. Yes. So see you tomorrow. Okay. 8:15 sharp. Sorry, 8:45. 8:45 sharp. And so just have a look on this repository. Okay. So it has 2 branches now. So just now we pushed to 2 branches, right? So yeah. Um,
Second branch not pushing.
oh, there is something problem, I believe. Set hyphen set. So one hyphen is missing. So it got failed. So take code from develop, and if you would like to do any changes, yes, you can create a pull request. Okay, so I will merge it into develop branch. Yes, we have 2 branches. You can create download from develop branch, and you can create your own branch, and you can push and you can ask merge it into develop by creating a pull request. Okay. Yes. Okay. So that's it, guys. Thank you. um yeah, so we will meet tomorrow. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.